The Coastal Act came out of a movement of activists sort of joining forces. It was a ballot referendum and people voted on it. The people of California wanted this law and by and large stand by it today. We want to preserve our natural resources as public goods, as things that we can count on.
One of the big mandates of the California Coastal Act, which is the law under which the California Coastal Commission works, is to maximize public access to and along the coast. In other words, the California coast is for all citizens of California and the world.
The Coastal Act is really a radical idea that the coast belongs to all people and that it's going to be protected for the use and enjoyment and long-term needs of everyone in California.
It designated a coastal zone, it appointed a coastal commission to regulate development, and the whole purpose is to preserve our coast in a more natural space that protects our recreational opportunities, it protects our sensitive habitats, it protects our public resources and public views.
On the 40th anniversary of the California Coastal Act, we wanted to take a look at how access issues and challenges are changing today. And what is the state of access to the coast for Californians today?
Our coast is still used for economic activity, but the Coastal Act says that you've got to balance that with the needs of people who live here in California and people's right to really enjoy sacred place and sacred land. That's made California fundamentally different, where you might have in another state an area where some incredibly wealthy person owns this land and they can say, you know, nobody's allowed here.
If you look at other states, New Jersey, Florida, a lot of them have development right up to the beach. It's impossible to actually get there. And so we had the Coastal Act sort of in place, I think, just in time to preserve a lot of our access and a lot of our natural, pristine coastline.
You can have the most wealthy Hollywood celebrity or kind of tech tycoon who can buy a gorgeous multi-million-dollar beachfront mansion, and regular people are still allowed to go to the beach right in front of it.
Ultimately, our public resources in California, such as our public beaches, our beautiful coastline, they belong to all Californians, and that's what the Coastal Act codified into law.
The Coastal Act has made that a different experience for people in California. I think that promise isn't fully fulfilled for communities like Oxnard, communities like Wilmington in LA or Barrio Logan in San Diego, whose coasts really haven't fully been restored for those communities and whose coasts really are still primarily used for industry. But the fact that the Coastal Act says that this is supposed to be for the public gives something to envision. The Coastal Act is giving a direction that says, we've got to take this back for the people.
It was a result both of concerted citizen activism and advocacy and organizing, as well as enlightened leadership in the California legislature to push it through. It's not as if there wasn't resistance at the time. There was, as there still is, to some of the efforts of the Coastal Commission, in particular, to protect the coast.
Well, the Coastal Commission has been very good to our city and has helped us protect what is important on the coast for us.
Enlightened political leadership also often comes from citizens, making sure that their legislators know that they care about the coast, that it's important to them, that they want it protected, and that they want to have access to it. Citizen activism and advocacy and passion, caring, voting for the coast is going to continue to be essential for protecting the California coast.
Oftentimes when we take kids out here for the very first time and we ask them, whose beach is this? They'll point at me or they'll point at one of my staff. And it's really thanks to the California Coastal Act and the work of the Commission and the Conservancy that our answer is actually no. The beach and the coast belongs to everyone, including you and your family. That right is written into our state law. I can really see the power of the Coastal Act in their faces when they understand that this is an area for them as well.